But where did this company come from? How did they get authority over us? By the Constitution Act 1986. 2. The head of state. The sovereign and right of New Zealand is the head of state of New Zealand and shall be known by the royal styles and titles proclaimed from time to time. The Governor-General, appointed by the sovereign, is the sovereign's representative in New Zealand. This is where they set up the new company in 1986. Okay, Parliament. There shall be a Parliament of New Zealand which shall consist of the sovereign and right of New Zealand. The Parliament of New Zealand is the same body as that which before the commencement of this Act was called the General Assembly, as established by Section 32 of the New Zealand Constitution Act 1852. Okay, you can see now a bit of paper is ruling us, and then we see the royal styles and titles that they proclaimed was Her Majesty the Queen and Right of New Zealand. Now they registered that company on the Securities Exchange Commission in America, and there's the address down the bottom there. 1, The Terrace, National Provident Building, Wellington. And the mailing address, get this, Care of New Zealand Debt Management Office, Treasury, Wellington. Oh my goodness. Look at all these private companies that you thought were government agencies, but they're not. They're listed either with the Securities Exchange Commission or Dun & Bradstreet. Have a look at those. Crown means Her Majesty the Queen and Right of New Zealand. So that is the company that is registered on the Securities Exchange Commission. So Her Majesty the Queen and Right of New Zealand is the Crown. It has its own police force, judges, etc. And the language is very tricky. If I asked you what correct was or correction, I know the answer you'd give me, but not in their language. It means discipline or chastisement. The most important is the principle that Parliament does not grant supply to the government for more than 1 year at a time. So there is something else that goes on behind the scenes, and that is very, very different to what that says there. And it's the Westminster system of Parliament, and this is how they get their authority to go back in for another year every time. So at the end of this year, when they pack up and leave, they cannot do anything until a certain thing happens. Now, the Westminster system is church, state, and king. So, on the 25th of January, they all go up to Ratana Pa. Ratana invite them up there. Now, this is the church. They go up to Ratana. Ratana welcomes onto the marae, and Ratana gets their koha. The government gets the mandate for another year. The second thing that happens, the government gets an invite up to Waitangi. The Maori Council get their check. The government gets the mandate for another year. And then they can now open Parliament. They only need one other tick, and that's in July when they go to talk to King Tuheitia. Okay, so that's how the government or the company that's running New Zealand gets its mandate. Parliament is the supreme legislative assembly of Great Britain and Ireland, consisting of the King or Queen and the 3 estates of the realm, the Lords Spiritual, the Lords Temporal, and the Commons. Okay, so now you know that a private for-profit company governs New Zealand. What should you do? Well, the best thing I can suggest is that you learn your status. If you don't know what your status is and what your rights are, then you don't have any.